Hello and welcome to another edition of the Wildcat Walkthrough. My name is Cedric Bailey, your announcer for the Dunbar Wildcats, and it's always time to talk to Coach Todd Lawson. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing this morning, Cedric?
I am doing great, and I just got one thing to say. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys are playing, man. They playing. You know, they could very well be 3-0, man. So they doing real well. You know, if they like last night, they was determined to run the ball. So if they can do that right there, man, that those teams are hard to beat, especially when you got somebody that like Dak, a good quarterback that have real good accuracy and things like that. And you got some good receivers, man. They'll be hard to beat.
Well, I send out a word every day, and the pastor from out of North Carolina, his name is Reverend Lister, and he sent me a text, and he said, "We still got room for you to bring you back if you want to come back." I said, "Well, win the NFC East, and then I'll think about it." I'm having fun, but listen, let me tell you something. I got to the game last week because I know we got Diamond Hill Jarvis, and I'm about to talk to them about them in a moment. But the first person I see is your brother, Lonnie. Your brother is the biggest supporter of Dunbar Wildcats.
When you got to understand, when you're born and bred and to grow up in the neighborhood, and I have my brothers and sisters and family members and all of that attended Dunbar. And I have a couple of coaches on staff that is the same way too. It was no ifs and buts about it. You were going to Dunbar. Mm-hmm. And like my mom and dad used to always say, whatever you can do away from Dunbar, you can do at Dunbar. So, all you got to do is go in and do what you're supposed to do, and everything else, are paying out. And by my parents being businessmen, I was always all over the city. So I was answering a lot of questions of why you go to Dunbar and, won't you come over here to this school and things like that. But my dad always instilled that into us that, hey, this is where you're going to go to school at.
Well, that's good. And that's what it's all about. And I can say this, when I'm up in the press box, I can see the families of the players, and they come in there with their T-shirts on, and they got their son's name on there with their jersey and everything. And one of the guys made an interception. Boy, you could have just heard them all cheering. So I just want to salute the Wildcat fans and thank them so much for listening to us here on the BGC Sports Network. Now, we come on the BGC Sports Network 2, and I'll tell you more how you can be able to listen to us and go to the website and all that. But Coach, let's talk about that game against Benbrook. You lost the game, and it was a game that you could have won, but the problem to me, honestly, is the tackling situation. You just couldn't stop those guys, number 3 and number 10. You couldn't stop them. So what did you say to the team during that?
Well, like I told the team, and we've been doing a lot of going back to the drills. But one thing, when you say tackling, that's a lot of want to. Mm-hmm. And like I tell guys, you have to be determined to stop, just like, they had difficulty tackling, Gene, that's some want to. You got to be willing to stick your head in and do what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times it's not all about you. It's about getting in there, doing your form tackling, getting in on, and then your teammates coming to help you get those individuals down. So that's the biggest thing we talked to them about. You don't have to be talented to be a good tackler, but a good tackler, if you notice them, you find them in the NFL, you find them in do it. It is nothing that you can kind of, ease into or things like that. You just got to want to do it.
Well, let's talk about some of the good things that you saw. First of all, Malik Montgomery, you had some players that came back.
Yeah, Malik came back, and he had some good runs and things like that. And the running back, we was able to put some yards up and things like that. And we unfortunately on the extra point, they did a lot of onside kicks on the kickoff. So we kind of they got 4 out of 5 of them. But to keep the game that close right there, and to get 4 out of 5 of your own, for them to get onside kicks, and you keep the game pretty close like that, that shows your defense was playing well. We just couldn't, kind of flip it and put a little bit more pressure on them.
So how do you deal with that? Because I know you had to have a session where you practice recovering onside kicks. So that means the guys up front have got to be looking out, because they didn't want to kick the ball deep to you.
And not as you would say, as a baseball player. And, you know, that's something that these kids today don't play baseball, but, you know, play the ball instead of the ball plays you. So normally you're going to get a little bounce on that ball. And when you get that bounce, you got to be able to react and go snag the ball out of the air and cover it. So it have to be an aggressive play. So we kind of went through those things and we talked about those things right there. Because if you look at those onside kicks, say if we'd have got 2 of those,
Yeah.
that'll put us in very good position. So we had a chance to do it. Unfortunately, you hate to lose a game like that, but hopefully the most important thing is that you grow from it and it's unable to happen again.
Yeah. You guys came out in the second half and you had a great run. And then next thing I know, you had a penalty, and then there was a unsportsmanlike conduct. And then it just went down. You ended up getting safety.
Yeah.
No.
And again, those are things that we talk with the kids about. And again, when you're trying to develop an attitude as a winner and things of that nature, it takes time. You know, and some of the kids, you know, we had the year layoff. A lot of these kids were coming back that may even be seniors or some are juniors. Well, we had a few that was out last year, you know, they didn't play at all. So, you know, you're kind of trying to make up a year. So even though they may be a junior, in mind, they're still a sophomore, or, you know, in football age. And then if you say he's a sophomore, he really is a freshman, because it's just a lot of stuff that they miss. But you just try to grow it and go with the growing pains and understand that it's a growing process, and try not to put so much stress on the kids. But hey, man, just go out there and have fun. It's still a game that, you know, you have fun to play.
Gotcha. All right. So now we're 0-1 in the conference because it just started in the district. And tonight's opponent is going to be, of course, Diamond Hill Jarvis. And I looked at their record. They are 0-4. They played Western Hills and got shut out by them in the previous game. So what do you see from Diamond Hill Jarvis?
You know, Diamond Hill, he got his kids, man. They're going to play hard. They're going to play hard. So we got to make sure we go out there. See, this game right here, I look at it as we go in and we got to do the things that we're supposed to do to be successful. There's certain goals that we expect from our defense, or certain goals we expect from our offense. And if we don't achieve them, you know, we hope, you know, we win the game, but we have to look at as an improvement, as a stepping stone, because from here on out, it's going to be teams like them, but they're just going to be a little bit more talented. As the time goes, they're going to be more talented because they're going to show us a lot of formations and things like that. We got to see how we react and jump out at it. You know, one thing I can say is that our cornerbacks played very well this past game. And I kept telling them from the preseason, I said, y'all played against some of the best quarterbacks, some of the best receivers. So Nan's kind of slowing down with them, and they had a great game. So this would be another game where we can afford to put them out there on an island and let them just play ball and do the things that they can do very well. But again, you know, we definitely should get this one. But there's some certain goals that we have to achieve as a team and hold ourselves responsible of these if we want to have success on the back end.
Let's talk about your quarterback, Brighton Woodard. So I saw some good things out of him too, as well. So what's going on with Brighton Woodard?
Well, we had a talk, and we had, you know, we kind of still going back and forth with both quarterbacks and things like that. He had some good plays, and we had some plays where, you know, a lot of it has to do with experience and getting those things under his belt. So it's some growing pains that are going on there. So like I told him, you're gonna get your shot at it. But just understand what you're supposed to be doing. Stay within the offense, play within yourself. You know, because at one time we were doing well. We had another drive there that could have put us up either behind by 2 or behind by 1. And early in the third quarter, we driving downfield and we end up having a quarterback fumble, which was an unforced fumble. And all he had to do was just fall out, you know, not blaming it on it, but those are things that I tell the kids, we're not beating you down with it. We're just doing it so we can grow from it. Where that never happened, because that was an easy, you know, just recover it. We got another play to go. So, you know, just making things like that and play within yourself.
Now, I'm looking at the roster here. We got Brazil and Moore, and then you got Montgomery. Yeah. And then hopefully you got Dariante coming back as well. So I don't know what his status is.
We hoping we can get him back. That's still up in the air. So we pretty much have, you know, we're just waiting on the ruling on that. You know, that's another kid. That's a sprinter. That's a back where we just got to give him a little space, and he's gone to the house. That's, you know, so that's the thing. We're just kind of waiting around, keeping our fingers crossed on that situation. But you know, he's a good kid, and hopefully we can get him back soon.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and I seen how you used Malik in there to put him as a slot and run some jet sweeps or so. And I mean, What about if Moore? I know Moore is a power runner. I mean, he gets down the field and he runs that ball or so. But with the talent that you got in the backfield, I know Coach Roberts has got to be saying, how can I make all this come together, Coach? Because you got the talent.
And it's coming, and again, that's again, when you have somebody young at that quarterback position, you pretty much have to be very leery of putting too much on them. Even though, we're talking about getting those guys involved and things like that, just making sure we don't put too much on the plate of that quarterback, the signal caller. So we just kind of just grow back, because we got some guys there that we could really do some damage with the offensive line. I know they're averaging right at 300 yards a game rushing, for the year. So we right there. They ended up with like 270 some yards rushing this past game. So we're right there. We just got to take our time, where we just don't want to move too fast and just blow up the ship, things like that.
And by the way, I do want to say, I noticed you got a sophomore. It's number 75. I believe that's who it is. Christian Johnson.
Yeah.
6'4", 330.
Yeah, we call him Big Duty. Big Duty.
What is it?
Big Duty.
Big Duty. Let me just say this. Big Duty, it was for him. I was watching him, and I know he made a couple of mistakes just jumping off, because it was a couple times when he jumped off, y'all had them, but because of the penalties, that gave them life and they was able to continue on. But this dude, I mean, he has potential to be a beast. And at such a young age, a sophomore, that means he's 15 years old.
Yeah, and again, he want to do so well. He's want to do so well. And I've been working with Duty since he's been in middle school in 8th grade. And in some shape now. And again, that year being out due to the COVID, that's the year he got to make up with doing the running and the workout and stuff like that. He's going to be just get even better, but he wants to excel.
Yeah, and and he's still got room to grow. He possibly 6'6".
Yeah. Yeah. So he's a good kid. I mean, personable kid. I just laugh when he go in and talk to his teachers about his grades. And when you see him walk in there, they'll be like, "Oh Lord, what's going on?" But like I went to get on him one day about his class, and he was in he's in the chorus class. He in there singing. And I'm like, I didn't know Duty could sing. That was something new. He make it, that was something new, just to be surprised by something like that, to see a big kid like that, to go up there and do some things like that, man. And that's just, honor and things of being a coach, where you can go out there with a kid and see a kid doing something totally different, and he growing in it and he enjoys it and stuff like that. You can't do nothing but feel blessed for him. And he's gonna be there. He's gonna get some great things out of this.
I got in my hand a book, and I'm going to show you this book. Tommy Harris, he played football for the Chicago Bears, and he played for the University of Oklahoma. And that's what we need. And he's from Killeen, Texas, and I run into him. I'm going to try to ask him. I said, man, I would love to get him to come by to school and talk to some of your kids, man, because that's what we need. If you remember a few years ago, we had Colston, Mark Colston from the Colts that time, and I'll never forget your boys. They looked at it, they was like, they couldn't believe they was talking to an NFL player, And I'm going to try my best to ask him if he can meet me one day to come over there.
Yes,
definitely. When I see these young men, I'm like, man, they just got to have hope and know that, hey, because college is going to come look for them, and they're going to condition them, and they're going to get them ready or so.
Yeah, and again, and I appreciate that, Cedric, because like we always say, it takes a village to raise them, and that's just getting exposure to our kids to understand, to understand, because it's a lot of things out there, and just to have that be personable when people walk up to you, know how to speak and things like that. That goes a long way, especially when a coach comes in. He comes into an inner city school. He wants to know how's that kid going to react when they're in this different environment. With people coming up to him and things like that. How they're going to react? Are they going to go into a shell or be introvert or something like that? So we talk to the kids about things like that. But that, hey, man, I always say, man, we got speaker people want to come in and talk to them, men want to come in and talk, you're more than welcome, because the more the merrier, because somebody, the eyes that I may not be able to open, maybe somebody else that you bring in will open their eyes where they understand we all on the same team, man. We're trying to get what's best for you, for those individual players.
I had a kid, we brought Greg Ellis up here to speak in Oklahoma, and I had a kid, this was 4 years ago, who came to me and said, man, you're the one that brought those Carter High kids and Greg Ellis to come talk to us. And they had a great season that year. So it's things like that. But Coach, that's what we got to do. We got to make it happen. Listen, we're about ready for the game, and I want to say thank you so much. And man, I tell you what, my Sooners, boy, they in trouble. They was booing the quarterback.
Yeah, they gonna get it together. They got too much, but it's I don't know what's going on, but but the main thing is they're winning. But even though they don't like to be in those tight games like that, they're gonna be accustomed to doing it. And that when they get to play, I know it's gonna be a tight game when they play Texas. And then when you think about it, if they so happen to make it to the playoff, it's gonna be a tight game like that. So I think in due time, I think they put more pressure on themselves than the opposing team, but in due time, they'll be fine.
Well, and Texas plays TCU this week. Then it's OU Texas next week. You got Arkansas making some noise, and they already talking about Alabama. Hold it, pump your brakes now.
They got a big one this week too, man. God, dog, yeah, you better not look ahead of Georgia. Yeah, man. But they look good now. Arkansas looks good, and I was explaining to the kids. I said, y'all would be surprised. Arkansas used to recruit very heavily in the DFW area, and I feel like that's why they come back, play in the what is it, Jerry's World, because they kind of get that exposure here. Because
you're right about that, Coach. So listen, I want to say thank you for being with us here on the Wildcat Walkthrough, and of course, we're ready for tonight's game against Diamond Hill Jarvis. Good luck as you take on Diamond Hill Jarvis, and thank you so much, Coach Lawson.